I want to ask you something and I want you to answer honestly. Is there something you've been wanting to do? Maybe start a new business, a creative project, a career change, a relationship you want to show up for, or maybe a reinvention of yourself. It's never too late to do that if that's something you've been wanting to do. And if I ask you why you haven't done it, what would you say? I'm guessing it probably sounds something like, it's not the right time. I'm not ready yet. I'm waiting for things to settle down. And then there's even more of those reasons, right? I have to wait until we redo the kitchen or when the kids go back to school, maybe when the kids go to college. The list goes on and on. But the biggest one is, I'm just not ready yet, right? That kind of covers it all. So here's what I want to offer you today. Not ready yet is a trap. It's a myth. It's a story that we tell ourselves that isn't necessarily true. It's not because preparing for something isn't important, right? I'm not ready yet. I'm not prepared. I haven't done enough research. I still have more things I need to get in line. And if that's true, then that's okay. But most of us like to say we're not ready yet for other reasons. So today we're going to go deep on shift. The second step in the framework, the Better Way framework. Notice, shift, align, and refine. Today is all about shift. The belief that you need to be ready before you begin. So before we go any deeper into this pattern, I want to make sure that we're grounded in what shift actually is, because it's a step that most people skip. And that's exactly why change doesn't work for them. They skip it because they notice that they need to change something and then they go right into the doing. But remember, we have to do the internal work first. When we don't do the internal work first, then those changes don't work, not long term. Shift is where you change the source. That's kind of where it all lives. And it's the internal move that has to happen before the external one, right? The mind goes and the body follows. You can white knuckle your way through anything, right? It's a temporary thing when you're white knuckling. Nobody's going to live in the white knuckle phase. Nothing actually shifts. We just get through it. So let's think about it in terms of a diet. You decide that you need to eat healthier. You need to eliminate the processed food, the fast food, what have you. You find yourself at a restaurant and it's time to order. And you're like, give me the garden salad. Well, you're not super excited about that. You haven't really made up your mind that this is the direction you want to go. So you're going to white knuckle it through the meal. And at the end, you're not really satisfied because internally you hadn't decided that that's what you were ready for. So the change doesn't last, right? The next meal isn't going to be another garden salad. It's probably going to be a situation where you fall off the wagon because you're not committed. You haven't internally made that shift that is so meaningful. I'm not ready yet is an embedded story. And today we're going to question that. So let's talk about this person that you might recognize. She's smart. She's capable. Sometimes she's the most competent person in the room. And for months and years, she's been turning over this idea, this business, this project, this new way of being, this changing how she shows up in her relationship. And she's excited about it. She can visualize it. But she doesn't start. She needs to do more research. She needs to take one more course. She needs to get more prepared. She needs to do all these other things, right? And the list goes on and on and on before she's ready. She's preparing. She's being responsible. She's being realistic. And then guess what? 2 years go by, 5 years go by, 7 years go by. And here's the thing about not ready yet. It's disguised as wisdom. It's disguised as self-awareness. She's being thoughtful. She's making sure she's ready, right? And that is socially acceptable. If someone came to me and said, "Well, aren't you still doing that thing?" I'd say, "Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm just not ready to make the move yet." Everyone understands not ready yet because they relate to that. I haven't started my thing yet either. I'm not ready yet. But underneath all of that preparation and practicality, which is why we're not ready yet, is one thing, and it's fear of failure. What if it doesn't work? What if I've been hyped up about all this excitement and doing this and it doesn't work? Fear of judgment. What if people say I wasn't really that great? What if they say like that I didn't know what I was doing? What if they say she's not qualified to do that? He isn't even experienced in that. What if I'm afraid of what they might say behind my back? Fear of actually succeeding. Now, that's always a concept I've struggled with. Marianne Williamson says it perfect. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Are we really afraid of how powerful we are? And that may be what's underneath. I'm not ready yet. It's insecurity with a responsible haircut. It sounds good because most people don't say when they're asked, why haven't you done that thing? Because I'm afraid, because I'm afraid I might fail. I'm afraid of what other people will think. Because when they say that out loud, they know how crazy it sounds. But internally, that's the story they're telling themselves. So here's the crazy part. Not ready yet never arrives, right? Because ready isn't a destination, it's a feeling. It's a feeling that we get when we're finally like, all right, here we go. And feelings that are rooted in fear don't resolve themselves through preparation. So I can prepare and prepare and prepare, but if fear is still driving me inside, I am never going to make that move because I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready for what's on the other side of that. I don't feel like I can handle the failure, the judgment, the disappointment. And so that's why we need to shift that mindset. And the shift that happens, it has to happen before the action. So here's where we're going to pivot. We don't need more time. We need a different belief. So let's talk a little bit about the research and what that says. Cognitive behavioral therapy gives us a crucial lens, the concept of cognitive distortions, that we have these distorted thoughts inside of ourselves that drive what we do or what we don't do. So there's something specifically called fortune telling. And it's a pattern of predicting a negative outcome and treating that prediction as if it's a fact. Are you familiar with this? Have you ever done this? You've already decided what the outcome was going to be, and it wasn't a good one before you even tried something, right? An example, I think everyone can relate to this. You're going to go and speak in front of a bunch of people. Oh my God, you're going to totally flop it. It's like, I just know I'm going to like do something and embarrass myself. That's a prediction. That's not based on fact, but it's a distorted thought that you have in your mind that can keep you from doing that thing that you want. Here's the neuroscience. It adds another layer here. The brain is wired to prioritize threats over opportunities. So you look back at evolution and the ancestors needed to notice danger faster than reward, right? That's how they survived. They need to like constantly like be aware, is there danger ahead? Is there something I need to be afraid of? And so the brain, when it perceives something as a threat, the body just automatically reacts the way that it does. So fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of disappointment, fear of something not working out. That's the brain saying, okay, we're in danger, 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 danger. Let's protect ourselves. So the brain processes negative information more deeply and weighs it more heavily. So basically, criticism hits harder than 5 compliments. Okay. So one failure feels more significant than 3 wins. And the brain isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it was intended to do. It doesn't know the difference between a predator and a new business, a predator and a new project, a predator and a new career. So all of this is something that you have control over when you shift your mindset to a growth mindset, a different way of thinking about things. You are in control. Things go into default, they go into autopilot. Our natural instincts kick in, but conscious living means I am aware of what my brain is doing, what my body's doing, and I decide. So here's the shift that I want you to make today. Stop waiting for ready and start before you are ready. I know how it sounds. It sounds like how irresponsible, like that's reckless. That's actually very important to be ready for something. Preparation matters, learning matters, timing matters. All of that does play into a person making a change. But there's a difference between genuine preparation and indefinite postponement disguised as preparation, right? So we need to be honest with ourselves. Is this really preparation Or is this really fear? Here's the belief I want you to try on. Confidence doesn't come before you start. It comes from starting. Think of all the people who had to do something for the first time. Public speaking, very scary for the first time, right? You can prepare and prepare and prepare. And when you stand on that platform in front of all those people, that fear doesn't go away no matter how prepared you are. But after your 50th time doing it, I promise you, you have no fear. You know why? Because confidence came from doing it, not from preparing for it. So I want you to say that out loud. Confidence doesn't come before you start, it comes from starting. So, anyone that you've ever admired from a distance, she wasn't ready either at some point. She was scared and she started anyway. And the starting is what built that confidence, not the other way around. We all have something in our lives that we did that was scary. I mean, if you take a moment to reflect, you can come up with at least one thing. Though I think you've done multiple scary things in your life. Being a parent is one, but we decided now is as good a time as any, and we amazed ourselves, right? So I wanted to tell you a little personal story about how something in my life fits into all of this. I noticed that I was not fulfilled. I enjoyed what I was doing for a career for many, many years. And after some time, I felt like there was just something more. I kept feeling like something else was waiting for me. And I noticed that it just kind of this nagging feeling. And I didn't ignore it. Maybe initially I did, but eventually I noticed it. And I was like, okay, it's time for something more. What it is, I don't know. But what I will do is I will give it to God because that's my belief and that's what I do. And I trust him. And I said, whatever it is that you want me to do, I'm ready for it. Please put it on my path. And I kept an open mind. I dabbled in a bunch of different things. I set up meetings with different people. I in new networks because I knew that God helps those who help themselves. And I had to put myself out there. And this podcast organically came. And I know that this was God because this didn't scare me. Nothing about it scared me. And that was a sign for me. You each have your own spiritual beliefs, things that awaken you, if you believe in signs, whatever it is. But for me, that was how I got to this place. And as it started to come to life, I thought, these are my strengths. This is a skill set I have. I want to help people. I am a licensed social worker. I want to be a resource. I want to educate. I want to advocate. This is who I am. It is aligned with my authenticity. And so it all started to come together and make sense. And as I started to create this, it was scary. I had to learn new things. I had to prepare. I did a lot of reading. And even as I started to create my podcast, I doubted, did I research enough? Am I checking my notes too much? Do I not have enough in my brain? And I finally said, you will never be fully ready. You just have to do it. So with the courage that I had, I launched. And as I've created this better way, I've gained more and more confidence. And I promise you, it was by doing, not by preparing. So, how do you actually do this? You need a process. And that's what I'm here for. I am here to give you that process on how to shift. So, step one, name the belief underneath the waiting. If you're saying I'm not ready, I want you to go deeper. What are you actually afraid of? Are you afraid of failing? Are you afraid of judgment? Are you afraid of finding out it doesn't work? Are you afraid that people won't support you? Are you afraid that it actually might work? Name it specifically. I want you to name it and write it down in a place only you can see. I'm afraid that my friends will laugh at me. I'm afraid that I will not be hired if I apply to new places. I'm afraid if I reinvent myself, people will think I'm being immature. Whatever it is, I want you to write it down. Step two, question that belief. Is that actually true? Will my friends really not support me? Is that what I'm holding back for? And then you have to ask yourself, if I'm saying I'm not ready and I'm truly not ready, what's the standard of readiness? What has to happen for me to be ready? Step three, I want you to try on a new belief. These are three options I'm going to give you, and I want you to write them down. I suggest, because this is a strategy that I use, I get a dry erase marker, the mirror that I get ready in every morning. I write on my mirror whatever it is that I want to be mindful of. So, this is a great way for you to write down that new belief in a place that you will look at every single day. So, you can write something like, I don't need to be ready. I need to be willing. That's a new belief, right? It replaces I'm not ready. I don't need to be ready. I need to be willing. Or confidence is built through action, not acquired before it. That's a belief you can try. Starting imperfectly is better than not starting at all. Choose one. Say it out loud every morning. Write it down. Step 4, take one small action from the new belief. So, whatever it is, if it's confidence is built through action, not acquired before it, then you take one action step. If you're looking for a new job, that action step is updating your resume. If you're thinking about starting a new business, that action step is writing down what timeline you would like from the moment you announce the business to the day you start operating. Whatever it is, you take one small action step. I'm not talking something big, okay? Something small, because shift without any action stays in theory. The smallest step forward is evidence to your brain that the new belief is possible. You're rewiring that brain, and that evidence compounds. Your brain starts to dial that in, starts to, do what it does with that information. You don't have to be ready. You just have to be willing to begin. And that's how we shift. We name the belief underneath the waiting. We question the belief. Is this actually true? We try a new belief deliberately, something positive, say it out loud, and then we take one small action from the new belief. And lastly, before we close, I want you to ask yourself one thing. Is this in line with who I want to become? The belief that I'm carrying right now that I'm not ready yet. I'm afraid of what people will think. I'm afraid that I'll fail. Is this who you want to be? The person who's stuck in fear? Or do you want to be the person who walks alongside that fear because it's not going anywhere? Fear creeps in. It's part of our evolutionary system. It's trying to protect us. But you decide if you look fear in the face and you smile and wave and say, I see you, but I'm good. That's a decision that you make. So if there's something that you've been waiting to do, meaning to start reinventing yourself, whatever it is that you've been holding off on because you're not ready yet, I want you to consider something different. What if right now is the time? Not because everything is perfectly aligned and you have it all figured out, but because you are here and you are listening, and something in you already knows it's time to move, and this is your sign. Your homework this week, guys, I want you to name the thing that you've been postponing. Name the belief underneath it and take one small action. That's your shift. That's how you shift from I'm not ready yet to doing that internal work and setting up the body, because you're setting up the mind. Next Tuesday, we're going to go into a line. Thank you for joining me. As always, it's a pleasure. And this is my way of giving you a better way.